Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. I was just learned this a while back, to be honest, and I found it very interesting at the time, but I forgot about it. And it just come to me yesterday. I thought I'd make a video on it. So we've been talking about the Bible, the giants, the Nephilim, um, and history in the Bible and everything, and just been talking generally about that. Um, the Nephilim. So in the Nephilim, in the Bible, in Genesis, are giants, offspring of the fallen angels that apparently came to earth and slept with human women. So that's the tale, and it's kind of like missed out of our Bible and been like sort of brushed to the side, and the detail missed out. But that's the tale that the fallen angels came to earth, 200, I believe, and slept with human women and created offspring called the Nephilim, which were demigods of sorts, but were said to be giants. And as we see on the screen, just two pictures of, well, not pictures, drawings of giants. Um, Now there is round the world, or in you can find pictures of bones, giant bones, like the one you see here, but there was some sort of competition many years back to create photos of giant bones. So a lot of these photos aren't real and have been proved not to be real, and they were part of some sort of photo competition. And it seems to be that there is maybe a little bit of truth in these giants, but it's all very much covered up, and we don't get to see the photos, and they're not so much found in this day and age. They were found like 100 to 200 years ago, really. And we've dug most of these things up at this point. There is a crack about mounds, burial sites for the giants. That's another crack. But a lot of the pictures you see are fake, and that it's kind of misleading, to be honest. So this picture here, I believe, is fake, and it's just a human skeleton, a human-sized skeleton, been blown up, and this done for a picture competition. So a lot of the pictures you see are fake. But the tale is that the giants walked the earth, so there should be some sort of remnants of these giants, be it bones, be it whatever. As you can tell by the title of the video, this is called Petrified Giants and Himalayan Salt, which we'll get onto in a minute, the Himalayan Salt. So some of these giants were said to be 36 feet tall, which is absolutely immense, to be honest. But some of the records say that the tallest recorded somewhere within the scriptures or um, in the tales, that they're supposed to be up to 36 feet tall. The general size was about 13, I believe, or 15, but there was reports of 36. Now, whether this is true, I don't know. Um, but you have the Titans, the tales of the Titans as well, the Greeks and these and giants, just people of amazing size. Now, is there any evidence for it? That's what we're talking about here. In terms of the bones, yes and no, but there is reports that we've dug bones up, but there's no bones because they seem to go missing. So yeah, is there any evidence? So as we say, there's sort of the heights that have been reported in scriptures or in books or in tales or whatever. Um, and again, I think the general was 15 and 13 feet tall, the average or the most. But there was records of 36 feet tall giants, apparently. So something of that stature. Is there any evidence for it? And we're going into sort of the Himalayan salt here, but here's a few pictures of mountains that you could say do look a bit like giants or something. Were they carved? Because that's the other thing. People can carve stuff into stone. So the one on the right here for me looks like it's been carved. The one on the left, slightly less so, but the one on the right to me seems to be carved. Onto the other pictures, the one on the left again just could have been carved into stone on the floor, but the one on the right's a bit more like it's two giants in a grasp at the end of the world. some cataclysms come and killed them both in an embrace. That one's a bit more, looks a bit like that, doesn't it? Like they're covered in something and petrified. The one on the floor could just be carved into stone, so I'm not a big fan of that one, to be honest. Um, this again, this is well, that's either been carved into stone or that's a petrified fucking giant titan. That's you've only got two options there. That's there's we can clearly see a knee, we can clearly see a torso, a head. So that one again, that's either been carved or that's a petrified giant in some form. The one on the left on the next one, again, looks a lot like a body lying down, and a leg, and a back, and everything, to be honest. The head just misshapen, more not looking human, but it looks very much like somebody lying down. And we can see a foot, and an arm, and an ass, and a back, and even some boobs, to be honest. Looks like a bit of it could be a woman. Um, and then on the right of the pictures of possible faces, again in rocks, but again could have been carved into the rock over time. We've seen like the Sphinx, and could be similar things to that, but kind of sort of concrete giants knocking around in various places. So moving on, giants of such size would obviously be very large, you know what I mean? Very large indeed. So we move on to Himalayan salt, and Himalayan salt looks a lot like flesh, and yeah, that's kind of the crack. It looks a lot like flesh. And one of the theories is that Himalayan salt is actually petrified giant, and we're in effect eating petrified meat of giants, is kind of the crack, to be honest. And it does look unbelievably like meat, petrified meat, to be honest. So yeah, there's a couple of pictures of Himalayan salt. Moving on, here it is again. Just after it's been mined, and again, look at the large chunks. Look a lot like flesh to me. Again, bits of flesh with bits of fat in the flesh. So moving on to another picture. Here we see a pink salt mine on the right, and some pork ribs on the left. And again, the resemblance to flesh is uncanny. It's uncanny. It looks exactly like flesh with fat in it. We can see the fat, like the colour and the colour of the flesh. It's unbelievable to me how much this looks like flesh, Himalayan salt. So there's a picture of against pork ribs. Move on again here. Here's a corridor carved into Himalayan salt mine. And again, look at the roof. The roof again, obviously the floor's been tiled or smoothed down and tile affected. The roof again just looks like flesh and fat in the flesh. Very much so to me. When I heard this the first time, I was like, Jesus, it doesn't half look like flesh. So we move on again, and here's another picture of a salt mine, and again, just look at it. It's unbelievable, to be honest. Look at the whiteness is the fat in the flesh, and then you've got the actual red meat and tendons and bones, and it looks, honestly, to me, it looks very much like that, to be honest. Very much like flesh, Himalayan salt. So the crack is Himalayan salt, petrified giants, petrified titans that have all fell, and in effect they've turned to stone, or and people are mining through dead giants' bodies, and this is the innards of a massive titan or giant, and look at how much it looks like flesh and like the fat in flesh. It's unbelievable to me how much it does look like that. Again, could just be a complete coincidence, but also it could be that. Is it a massive petrified titan that fell when a cataclysm came, and in effect nobody's noticed that's what it is. Maybe there was multiple piled on top of each other, who knows? But then you've mined into to their dead petrified bodies, and this is what you got, the flesh. And obviously it's salt, it's very salty, it's Himalayan salt. So yeah, just a good one to me. When I first seen it and saw it looked like Himalayan salt in a big block and looked so much like meat. I was like, Jesus Christ, it doesn't have. But very interesting one is Himalayan salt, petrified giant. In the comments, what do you think is Himalayan salt, petrified giant? Peace.